Remember the warmth of a wooden radio glowing in a family living room, the gentle crackle of the needle touching a vinyl record, the quiet hum of a snowy evening in a small Canadian town. It was the 1970s, a time when voices didn't just sing, they spoke to the soul of a country. This was an era when music built bridges between provinces, between languages, between hearts. From the folk poetry of the Prairies to the electric dreams of Montreal and Toronto, these voices became the heartbeat of Canada. They told our stories, our struggles, our pride. They reminded us who we were and who we wanted to be. In this video, we'll travel back to that golden decade to rediscover 8 legendary Canadian artists whose songs defined an entire generation. Their music wasn't just sound, it was identity. If you love Canada's musical heritage, make sure to subscribe and join this journey through the melodies that shaped our nation's soul. Because when you close your eyes and listen, you can still hear it, the harmony of a country growing, dreaming, and believing in itself. Let's begin our journey with a woman whose words painted the sky and whose voice became the soul of poetic freedom. Joni Mitchell, the poet of the Prairies. She was born under the wide skies of Saskatchewan, where endless horizons taught her the meaning of freedom. Joni Mitchell carried that freedom in her voice, a sound that was both fragile and unbreakable. Her songs were more than melodies, they were windows into the human soul. When she sang, she didn't perform, she confessed. In 1971, the world heard Blue, an album so raw and honest that it felt like reading someone's private diary. Every note, every word carried the scent of open roads and lost love, the silence after heartbreak, the calm after a storm. Through her, Canada spoke softly to the world, not with power, but with poetry. Joni's lyrics painted emotions like landscapes, the loneliness of a traveler, the beauty of imperfection, the courage to feel deeply in a world afraid of feeling. She showed that art could be both gentle and revolutionary. Today, her songs still echo through time, reminders that beauty is not about perfection, but truth. And in that truth, Joni Mitchell became not just a voice of Canada, but a mirror of every human heart. Number 2, Gordon Lightfoot, the voice of the North. He was the sound of long highways, frozen lakes, and quiet towns. Gordon Lightfoot sang like a storyteller sitting by the fire, turning history and heartbreak into songs that every Canadian could claim as their own. His music carried the scent of pine trees and the rhythm of a freight train fading into the distance. When he wrote, "If You Could Read My Mind," he turned pain into poetry. It was a confession whispered through the radio, reaching millions who felt the same but didn't have the words. And then came The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, a haunting ballad that turned tragedy into legend. Through him, Canada remembered its sailors, its storms, its strength. Lightfoot's voice wasn't loud, but it was powerful in its simplicity, like the land he came from. Every lyric, every chord felt carved from the same rugged honesty that defines the North. Even today, when those songs play on an old radio, it's impossible not to feel that quiet pride again. Gordon Lightfoot didn't just sing about Canada, he was Canada, a voice steady as the wind, timeless as the country he loved. Number 3, Anne Murray, the heart of every home. She was the voice you heard in every kitchen, every car, every small town cafe. Anne Murray sang with a warmth that made even the coldest winter night feel gentle. Her tone was calm and pure, like the first light over a frozen river. When Snowbird flew across the airwaves in 1970, it carried the promise of something new, a Canadian sound that could travel the world and still feel like home. Anne didn't chase fame, she represented grace. Her songs spoke of everyday people, of love that endures, of quiet strength, of the beauty hidden in simplicity. In her music, listeners found comfort, pride, and belonging. She was the friendly voice that made you believe Canada could be both humble and extraordinary at the same time. If these memories make you smile, subscribe, and keep the spirit of these timeless voices alive. Because Anne Murray's legacy reminds us that greatness doesn't need noise, only sincerity. Even today, when her songs echo from an old speaker, it feels like the heartbeat of an entire country. She wasn't just a singer, she was the voice of home. Number 4. Leonard Cohen, the prophet of Montreal. He spoke like a poet, sang like a philosopher, and moved like a man who had seen both heaven and heartbreak. Leonard Cohen came from Montreal, but his voice belonged to the entire world. Deep, gravelly, and hypnotic, it carried the weight of love, faith, and longing. He didn't need to shout. His silence was powerful enough. When he sang Suzanne, it felt like a prayer disguised as a song, tender and mysterious, where every word seemed to float over the St. Lawrence River. Later came Hallelujah, a hymn of broken souls and fragile hope. It was not a song of victory, but of survival, and in that honesty, Cohen found holiness. He lived between the sacred and the human, between light and despair. His words were never meant to entertain, they were meant to awaken. Through him, Canada discovered that beauty could be dark, that faith could coexist with doubt, and that love was sometimes the most painful truth of all. Cohen didn't just write music, he built cathedrals of emotion. And within those walls, generations still come to whisper his name. Number 5. Buffy Sainte-Marie, the warrior and the dreamer. She was not only a singer, she was a force of nature. Buffy Sainte-Marie's voice carried the wind of the plains and the fire of truth. Born in Saskatchewan and raised with the spirit of the Cree Nation, she used her songs as both weapon and medicine. Her music did not just entertain, it awakened. In the 1970s, while others sang about love, Buffy sang about justice, peace, and the forgotten people of North America. Songs like Universal Soldier and Now That the Buffalo's Gone were fearless, confronting war, prejudice, and the silence of those who refused to see. Her courage came at a cost. Many of her songs were banned from radio, but she never stopped. Through her, Canada learned that music could be a revolution, that melody and meaning could heal wounds left by history. Her voice carried pain, but also hope. She reminded an entire nation that identity is not found in comfort, but in truth. Buffy Sainte-Marie remains the warrior and the dreamer, a living heartbeat of resilience, courage, and the unbroken song of the land itself. Number 6. Harmonium, the sounds of Quebec's soul. In the heart of the 1970s, a new kind of sound was rising from Quebec, poetic, spiritual, and deeply human. It came from a group called Harmonium. Their music wasn't made for fame or radio charts. It was born from emotion, from the desire to express what words alone could not. With albums like Si on avait besoin d'une cinquième saison, Harmonium created something uniquely Canadian, a sound that united language, nature, and philosophy. Their songs felt like long walks through forests, like rivers whispering secrets about life and love. They blended folk, rock, and progressive tones into something that transcended borders. Through their melodies, Quebec's voice reached the rest of Canada, not as division but as harmony, proof that music speaks louder than politics or language. Harmonium became the spirit of creativity, of identity, of dreaming beyond limits. Even today, when those soft guitar notes begin, a generation remembers who they were, young, hopeful, and free. Harmonium didn't just sing, they painted the soul of a province, and in doing so, helped define the soul of a nation. Number 7. Neil Young, the Electric Conscience. He was the restless wanderer, the poet with a guitar that roared like thunder. Neil Young carried the wild heart of Canada wherever he went, from the small towns of Ontario to the global stages of rock history. His voice was unpolished, fragile, even imperfect, but it was real. It was the sound of truth. In songs like Heart of Gold, Old Man, and Helpless, he captured the loneliness of the open road and the fragile hope that hides in every broken dream. Neil never pretended to be a hero. He was the witness to war, to love, to the changing world around him. His music became a compass for generations searching for meaning in chaos. He stood for honesty in a world of noise, for integrity when fame could have changed him. Through his electric rage and gentle ballads, Neil Young reminded Canada that rebellion can also be purity, that to follow your heart is to remain free. So if you believe in music that tells the truth, subscribe to celebrate the artists who gave us not just songs, but identity. Because Neil Young's voice still echoes across every northern highway, chasing the horizon of freedom. Number 8. Stompin Tom Connors, the voice of the people. He was the sound of taverns, truck stops, and open highways. Stompin Tom Connors didn't just sing about Canada, he lived it, one dusty stage at a time. With his worn cowboy hat and tapping boot, he turned everyday stories into national anthems. His songs weren't polished or glamorous, but they were honest, real, and proudly Canadian. From the hockey song to Bud the Spud, he gave a voice to truckers, farmers, fishermen, and hockey fans, the beating heart of the country. Every lyric carried a smile, a wink, and a truth that only someone who had lived it could tell. While others chased fame abroad, Stompin' Tom stayed home. He believed that Canada was enough, that its people, its humor, and its struggles deserved to be celebrated in their own right. His music reminded Canadians to stand tall, to take pride in their land, and to find poetry in the ordinary. He was more than a singer. He was a storyteller of the working class, a symbol of belonging. And when his boot hit the floor, every Canadian foot tapped along. The 1970s were more than a decade of music. They were a heartbeat that still echoes through every Canadian soul. From Joni's poetry to Lightfoot's northern winds, from Anne's warmth to Cohen's wisdom, from Buffy's courage to Harmonium's dreams, from Neil's rebellion to Stompin' Tom's pride, each voice built a piece of who we are. Their songs are stitched into the memory of the nation, played at family gatherings, road trips, and quiet nights when the snow falls outside. They remind us that Canada is not only a place on a map, but a feeling, a harmony that binds us together. So if these stories move you, don't forget to subscribe and share this tribute, because the spirit of the 70s still lives in every Canadian heart. Their music never ended, it simply became part of our silence.